If you're a beauty lover like me, then we probably can both agree that this time of year can be very overwhelming. No matter what platform you are on, social media just seems to bombard us with Sephora sale must-haves, limited edition collections that are selling out but then magically come back in stock, and of course, the pressure of Black Friday. But I want to take a little bit of that pressure off of you today, and instead of telling you what you must have, I want to bring a little bit more clarity into your holiday shopping by sharing with you what I think are the most overpriced, overhyped, viral makeup that quite frankly just isn't worth the money. And of course, if you do want to shop for beauty, what products I would buy instead as somebody who tests hundreds of high-end cosmetics for this channel every single year. Let's get into it. Okay, first overpriced product that you do not need. The HUDA Beauty eyeshadow palettes. You guys know what I'm talking about. This time around they have, what is it called? The Icy Nudes. That's the hot palette on the street right now. I purchased the Pretty Grunge palette last year, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I wasn't impressed. What's that phrase? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me once, shame on me. You already fooled me once, HUDA, and you're not tricking me again. This formula, guys, it's really not that great. I think these palettes at this point are like $68, $69. That is the same price as Natasha Denona, and the formula, it's just not as good. A lot of these palettes, or pretty much all of these palettes, have some, look at that, very, very chunky glitter. And I understand there's a lot of you out there that you love sparkly looks, but it's just too chunky for me, guys. I get so much fallout when I use these, and a lot of these glitter shades, they have the sparkle, but they don't have enough of a metallic base to help the glitter really stick to your eye and provide a lot of impact. Furthermore, the mattes in these palettes, I don't want to say that they're patchy. I feel like we throw that word around a lot in the beauty community. I think that they are just, they're too powdery, they're dusty. I feel like they're dusty. And while they are very blendable, I just find that I can't really build them up all that much. Like, what's the point of having a very pigmented shadow if it's not buildable? I much rather use a Natasha Denona palette. It's just better quality, and you still get a really cool, fun mixture of different formulas. She's doing a lot of, sparkly shades. She adds a little duochrome or two in there. The Natasha Denona ones, I think, are so much better. I definitely learned my lesson with the Pretty Grunge palette last year. At the end of the day, most of these palettes that HUDA launches, they're just neutral palettes. She does a really great job of laying out the palette in a very aesthetically pleasing way to draw you in. The colors, like the colors, are very, very beautiful, but they're also quite dupeable. The whole draw for me are the finishes, really. But like I said, I'm not super impressed with the formula. I definitely think that you can dupe the new Icy Nudes palette with like the Natasha Denona Glam palette or the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. There's a lot of similar neutrals, but I don't get all of the fallout, I don't get the chunky glitter, and I don't get the dusty mattes. End of story. The next product that I would recommend removing from your cart is the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes Moonlight palette. And I've talked about this on my channel before, so I won't go on and on, but I feel very similarly about this palette, the way that I feel about the HUDA palette that I just mentioned. The price tag reflects that of a luxury product, but I just don't feel that way about the Mario formula, particularly the mattes. Once again, I can't really build them up. I find them to be quite dusty. They don't feel like a luxury matte formula to me. It says suede mattes in the product description, and like I said, they just feel rather dusty to me. I rather have a Viseart palette or an Esam all matte palette that I can play around with if I really want some good quality mattes, or once again, even a Natasha Denona palette. And the shimmers in these palettes as well, I know that they're really beautiful. They give that kind of wet effect to the eye, but I've done comparisons here on this channel before, guys, and they're really not all that unique. If you take your finger and you cover up that little navy color on the Mario palette, you'll notice it's just a palette of neutrals. You probably already have something like that in your collection. It's really not that groundbreaking, and similar to the HUDA palette, if I'm gonna be buying it for the finishes, the formula just doesn't really hold up for me. And I think that Mario and HUDA are very, very smart with the color schemes, because the colors, they are very beautiful. They are very visually appealing, and you know what, guys? There's not that many cool tone palettes at Sephora. A lot of them lean very, very warm. So when you're scrolling along on the Sephora website or wherever you're shopping for these products, they really do stand out amongst the crowd. So they are kind of filling a gap, and I appreciate that from these makeup artists. But at the end of the day, it's not really something that I think you need to be tempted by. In fact, if you just pick up a single of the Hourglass Scattered Light Shadows, these basically do the same thing. Let me see if I can get a little bit on my finger here. Hopefully you guys can see that, but these basically basically do the same thing as those ethereal sparkly shadows in the Mario palette. So if that's really what you're after, I would recommend just getting a little single of these Hourglass scattered light shadows. They're really beautiful. My favorite one is this one called Smoke. Beautiful cool tone if that's the kind of look that you're going after, you know, with the Mario palette and the cool tones. I would also highly recommend the palette that I have on my eyes today, which is the DIOR Backstage Smoky Essentials. This is going to be a lot less glittery if you're somebody that likes kind of those cool tones, but more of a softer look, you know, more of like that luxury formula, which does tend to be a little bit less pigmented and just softer. Highly recommend this one, the YSL Mini Couture Clutch Palette in Stora Dolls. That is a classic at this point. Such a good cool tone color story, kind of like that grayish color. And then finally, the very classic Natasha Denona Glam Palette. I know that one doesn't have the pop of navy, but once again, guys, if you cover up that little navy shade in the Mario palette, it basically looks like all of these palettes. The Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palettes. I know, guys, you're probably confused, like, why is this in this video? You love these palettes, Sophia. You review them every single year. And yes, guys, I do really like these palettes from Hourglass, and I really do like the individual powders as well. The finishing powders, I use them almost every single day. The blushes, Chef's Kiss. It's not a bad product, but these palettes are in this video because I do think that these are very overhyped. I think a lot of people buy these because they get that FOMO. They're like, ooh, I need to collect the new palette that came out for this holiday. Maybe I need to buy multiple ones. Then they go on sale and it's like, oh, it's on sale. Maybe I'll get it before it sells out. But at the end of the day, guys, you can get a lot of these powders or at least very similar colors in the permanent Hourglass collection. And I really think that these palettes are only worth it if you're going to use every single product, every single shade that is within the palette. I find a lot of people out there, they buy these palettes once again because they're like, oh, I heard they're so good. And then the bronzer is too orange for them, or the powders are too light for them. All of the blushes are the same color, you know, maybe like a color that you don't even use that often, but you bought it because you heard it was good. Really take a look at all of the shades and all of the, you know, different products that are included in each palette and ask yourself, does this create a complete face for me? Because while I do enjoy these and I have at least 10 of them in my collection right now, I'll be honest with you guys, I do reach for like the same 2-3 palettes depending on like the season and the look that I'm going for. There are some that I just don't pick up at all because, like, once again, the bronzer's too warm or it doesn't really have the right mix. What I would buy instead, if you're really interested, especially if you're new to Hourglass and you haven't tried the products, pick up the singles and specifically the mini sizes, because the mini sizes are more affordable. They're going to allow you to try different colors, different types of products within the Hourglass collection. And then still, if you can't find an Hourglass ambient lighting palette that works for you, take a look at like the trios or the quads, the smaller ones, so that you don't waste your money. Because I don't know if you know this, but when you buy the powders in the palette, you don't actually save money. You're not paying less per gram of product. Does that make sense? So you're not saving money by buying the palette, so you might as well just get exactly what you want, exactly the shade that is going to work for you. The DIOR Backstage Rosy Glow Blushes. Yes, guys, I don't think that these are that great. And in fact, I don't think a lot of people know that these were reformulated. Did you guys know that these were reformulated? What was it? Like over a year ago at this point. And I know a lot of people don't know that these were reformulated because I posted this post on Instagram and it went viral. So many people had no idea. This is the sneaky stuff that brands do. They reformulate things. In this case, they wanted to make them talc-free. And a lot of times they fly under the radar because DIOR probably knew that the reformulated version just wasn't that good. The photos speak for themselves, guys. The newer ones, they are not as pigmented, they're not as glowy, they're patchy, they don't blend as well. They're not the worst blushes that I've ever tried, but I just find them rather hard to work with, and for the price, it just doesn't feel like a luxury experience. What I would recommend instead are the new Kosas Blush is Life blushes. These are pretty affordable for what they are. They have really cute packaging, beautiful shade range, and they just give the most beautiful glowy look to the skin that I think a lot of people liked with the original DIOR Backstage blushes. They don't have like the color changing stuff in them, but honestly guys, I think that's better. The color changing technology is just like a red dye that they put in the blushes. It's not something that you need to pay a premium for. It's very basic. I like the Kosas ones better because what you see in the pan is what you're gonna get on your cheeks. There's no like adaptation to your body warmth or anything like that. The one that I have on my cheeks today is my favorite. This one is called Dreamland, and it is a beautiful everyday nude. And speaking of DIOR, another product that you don't need to waste your money on are the DIOR lip oils. Once again, not a bad product, but at this point, guys, there's a lot more affordable lip oils on the market. Like, they're okay, and you know what? If you have one, most of them look very, very similar on the lips. It's like, oh, what's the difference between a light pink and a light lilac? Really not that much. These are $40. That's pretty expensive for what they are. If you're looking for a recommendation on what to pick up instead, I would try the ones from Ami Collet. They are a little bit thicker, they're more luscious, they're more long lasting. I feel like they're a little bit more pigmented on my lips, so I can tell the difference between the shades, and they are half the price of the DIOR ones. They are $20. Also, another recommendation that is not at Sephora are the new lip oils from RMS. These have the most beautiful shades, and a lot of the more vibrant ones are very pigmented. So if you want like a more comfortable alternative to like a red lipstick or something, you know, like a little bit more vibrant on the lips, I would go with these. These retail for $25, but I do have a 20% off coupon code that works all across the RMS site. So you can get that price down to what is almost the same as the Ami Collet. And you know what? While we're on the topic of lip products, let's talk about the Summer Fridays lip butter balms. How did these go viral? I guess they went viral because they have some really nice scents, but similarly, just like the DIOR lip oils, they don't look that different once they get on the lips, especially if you go for like the more neutral ones. I have the bright orange, I think it's called Poppy. It's fine guys. It's basically just a glossy lip balm. I don't feel like this works any differently from all the other lip balms that I have in my collection. It's glossy. It has a slight tint and it has a really nice scent. If there's a scent that you really, really like, you know, I like the iced coffee one. I have a little mini one of that I enjoy, but I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't know if I would repurchase it. What I would buy instead are these from Edem. These are the Les Chouchous lip softening balms, and actually, let me do a little touch up here. This is what I have on my lips today. This feels like an actual lip treatment. This feels like something that is seriously nourishing my lips. It's a lot thicker, it's more long lasting, but you still get that beautiful shine that you would get from the lip butter balms. These also come with a little metal applicator, so the whole experience of applying it just feels a lot more luxurious. It feels more worth my money. And both of these babies are $24, so if I'm gonna choose between them, I'm gonna go with the one that just lasts longer, is much more moisturizing, and has a much better experience with the metal applicator. Here's another lip product that really let me down, the LANEIGE Sleeping Mask. These are so popular, and similar to the Summer Fridays product, I think they're really popular because they come out with all the different fun scents and people like to collect them. I remember when this first came out on the market, I was like, ooh, I need to try this. I have very dry lips. I put this on my lips every single night for over a year, guys, and I honestly saw no difference than if I just use Vaseline or like that bag balm stuff that you can get from the drugstore for like $7, $8. You can get like a whole big jar of it. I really saw no difference. And if I'm gonna choose between this and like the Summer Fridays, for example, I'm gonna go for the Summer Fridays because I just think it's a little bit gross carrying around a little pot of lip balm and like digging your finger into it. I was in New York last weekend and I saw these teenagers and they were like all dipping their fingers into this girl's LANEIGE lip sleeping balm, and I'm like, ugh, that's gross. Like if you're putting it on before you go to bed and your hands are clean, you know, you've cleansed and all of that, I totally get that. But what I'm trying to say here, guys, is that if this is on your list and you're like, ooh, I need to try that, the message that I'm trying to bring to you is that this is not going to be super groundbreaking at all. Personally, I would just use some Vaseline. You got the bag balm, or if you want some really good scents, the GlossierBalm.com is what I usually get. I think they are $16, and then, you know, if you get them in the Sephora sale or something like that, you can get 15 to 20% off, and they have some really, really good flavors. I love the hot cocoa. They have some limited edition ones for this holiday. So I would save a couple dollars and go with the Glossier instead. Okay, here's another one that I just don't get. The Makeup Forever Artist color pencils. These have been around for a really long time, and I feel like their popularity kind of grows and wanes. And once again, like it's not a terrible product, but it's just a pencil, guys. I remember there was a makeup artist that kept using these, and I got really excited about these. I was influenced, and I bought so many shades of these. Why I bought so many at once, I don't know, guys. All right, I was inspired. I was influenced, as I mentioned, and then I realized it's just a pencil. The thing that I don't like about these the most is that they really don't last. They are a very blendable pencil. This is the kind of thing that's great if you are a makeup artist and you're doing somebody else's makeup. You know, you want something very multi-purpose. You can put it on the eyes, on the lips, on the face, whatever. And makeup artists like things that are really easy to mix and really easy to blend, and then they know how to set all of that. But guess what, guys? I'm not a makeup artist, okay? I'm looking for something that lasts. I will draw this line, I'll let it set, and then no matter how long it sets for, it still blends into nothingness. It's not a long-lasting lip liner. It's not a long-lasting eyeliner. I would rather just pick up like the Pat McGrath lip liner or the Charlotte Tilbury lip liner. Once you draw those on and you let them set, those babies stay. They are locked in. The Urban Decay 24/7 eyeliner pencils, those are really great if you want something that's blendable and long lasting. So I feel like in trying to make this something very multi-purpose, it made it something that just like doesn't work for me altogether, and I don't know, like I think that they are super duper overhyped. The Sol de Janeiro Bum Bum Cream. Yes, I'm going there because Sol de Janeiro is, I think, the most popular skincare brand at Sephora. They have exploded over the past year, but let's be real, guys. Sol de Janeiro is a fragrance company. That's really what they specialize in, and they are charging $48 for the Bum Bum Cream, just for like a regular jar, okay? You can go to the drugstore and you can get just like a really nice body cream for like $12, $15, something really good that's gonna last you a long time. I just can't bring myself to pay that much for a body butter, especially the Sol de Janeiro, and I feel like they charge a lot because they make you think that it's gonna be like firming and smoothing, you know, for the cellulite and everything. But guys, your cellulite is not gonna go away by putting on the Sol de Janeiro Bum Bum Cream. I know that those creams and all of like the cellulite firming technology, it's pretty much a scam. It's just a little bit of caffeine. It's really not going to do much. If you like this and it really provides you with like a tropical escape, go for it because the scents truly are intoxicating. I love the Milky Leave-In Conditioner, so there are some products from Sol de Janeiro that I really love, but the Bum Bum Cream is one of those things where if I can get a free sample, love to take it with me on vacation, but I'm not gonna pay $48 for what is essentially just like a body butter from the drugstore with some fragrance in it. What I would get instead are those little perfume mists, because if you can maybe save by buying a drugstore body lotion, you can then just mist yourself with the perfume mist, which is about half the price, and you get the same experience. The SAIE Glowy Super Gel. This is another very, very popular product, and the reason why I just don't think that this is worth the money and I think it's really overhyped is because I just don't think that it's glowy enough. When I put it on my face, I don't really notice the effect. When I mix it into my foundations, once again, it doesn't really provide enough pigment, and there's just not enough shades of this. I know that they have, I think it's 3 shades so far, but you'd think if you were going to create something that gave a lot of glow to the complexion, you would create enough shades to match the complexions of the customers that are purchasing it. The product that I like instead is the DIOR Glow Star Filter. This gives enough pigment, enough glow that I actually can notice it once it goes onto my face, and they have, I believe it's 8 shades, so you can really pick what is going to match your skin tone the best. I know that with the SAIE, the shades are kind of flexible, but again, it's because it's fairly sheer. So if I'm going to use a product like this that's going to illuminate my complexion, or I can mix into my foundation to add a little bit more glow, I want it to be noticeable. I know that the DIOR one is much more expensive, but I rather just pay the extra amount to get all of that product in the shade that really, really works for me. I also think that the DIOR is much more moisturizing as well. It feels a lot more occlusive than the SAIE, so that's why I don't use the SAIE Glowy Super Gel all that often. I always get so many questions from my subscribers, and I just wanted to mention it. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what products at Sephora or any other retailer for that matter do you think are super overpriced, super overhyped, and should be left at the store or deleted from cart. I would love to hear all of your thoughts. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and just a little bit of a different perspective on some of these overhyped products. I'm not trying to offend anybody or poo-poo on your favorite products, but I'm just trying to maybe de-influence some of you out there who are trying to decide between this or that. And with that, friends, I hope that you see some beauty in your day, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.